Hello, I'm Sora Luxon, and this is Tarot Card 2 of Swords, often called the Truce Deuce. Within the sacred tarot, the two symbolize chokma, the initiation of things, the powers that the king and queen have to unite and then bring about. And the deuce of the air-suited swords, our Lord of Peace restored, reflects this to us as the moon in Libra from the 1st to the 10th degree. Notice the sacred X of crossed arms bearing the blades upright, that divine letter of the dance of the initiated. The blindfolded force of contradiction, seated restfully rather than standing upright or struggling with something. This is someone who knows how to make difficult decisions or who needs to. The individual who grasps the concept of strength being gained through suffering, of short-term pain resulting in longer-term pleasures, of making sacrifices now in order to reap the beauty of reward. You can't create muscle without the uncomfort, the labor of lifting weights, that pain. So you can't get strength without pain, and you can't grow a lovely flower without the death of another flower first giving forward the seed that needs to be covered in the darkness in the abyss of the soil. This card knows that sort of dichotomy of seemingly opposed and yet fully unified powers. And if we're lucky, it speaks to us of thinking about things from a different angle, because if nothing else, we have no choice here. We can't see what's hidden, and so must try another approach. Usually this is someone very unselfish, who is ready and able to act in ways that aid the troubled or the downtrodden. You can sense that in this image. The sympathetic person who helps the weak. Look at how hard that stone seat is, and yet how gracefully the sword holder remains upright upon it. This is the strength of the helpmeet. There may be some trouble, but here in this too, that trouble finds peace. The tension is the tension of peace being brought back to hostile environments or opposing forces, of truth and untruth together, yes, but resulting in very authentic justice, a truce, in the balancing of differences, opposing alignments, being held in a state of equanimity, of equalness. Here we are advised of being at a crossroads. Perhaps we've lingered too long sitting on the metaphorical fence, and now we need to face our fear of claiming a conviction and moving forward with it. Being caught in the middle of things eternally will not serve anyone well in the long run. So what to do with the deuce of truce upright? Realize that you might be in some denial, and it's likely blinding you to the true state of things. You can't tell what's going on. And you can't have it both ways. You can't always be on both sides. It's time to make a choice. If your loyalties are divided, again, make a choice between the two parties, whether it's in business or relationships, even if you can't see which way the wind is blowing, even if all the information is hidden from you behind your back, even if you yourself have an inability to perceive the truth. Even if you're blind to truth or feel like you are, you need to make a choice. Lingering endlessly in the hinterlands of indecision isn't a procrastination technique that will somehow reveal more to you later. It only weakens you. Stalemates, they seem like this great thing at first. Truces seem so wonderful. But a stalemate, in the end, it's this long, tiresome, draining affair that is going to make you wish that you had made a choice long ago, even if it was the wrong one. Because even a wrong choice will result in a lesson, an evolution, an opportunity to learn and then continue forward with a new momentum. A stalemate offers no opportunity for progression or digression. This isn't the time to play it safe anymore. Things are vague, so what? Make a strong choice and stick to it. The Two of Swords reversed. In the Two of Swords reversed, unselfishness becomes selfish. What we had before in justice, in that very grave and peaceful silence, Now, in its reversal, it becomes noise. Too much commentary, which leads to harm. An individual who's too talkative, who speaks for the sake of speaking, who perhaps makes too many inquiries about things that don't have any genuine weight to them. Maybe somebody at work always poking into every little thing, whether or not it even matters. Here, in the reversal of the Two of Swords, we also have someone who's guilty of repetitious acts. Like a child who gets forgiven for stealing from the cookie jar when they're caught red-handed, but then rather from learning and evolving from that lesson after they're forgiven, takes the fact that they were forgiven, that they were pardoned, as a reason to then repeat the bad behavior over and over again, as if they're somehow getting away with it. They might mean well, but they have little or no tact. It isn't being done well. It isn't being hidden. And it ends up causing injury rather than doing any good for themselves or anyone else. Again, this could be someone that means well as they take actions, but they're so graceless about it that they end up doing more harm than good for someone in need. Sometimes we see the Two of Swords reversed jump forward from the deck to tell us also of lies being exposed, of untruths being pulled into the light of day rather than shadowed in moonlight. And sometimes those lies are our own. Sometimes it's us coming forward to confront the fact that we were holding on to a false premise. And as the truth then becomes clear to us, we can see the falsity that once was. Having lies exposed that you've been telling yourself can be very painful, but it's a process of growth that will only leave you stronger later on. There is also postponement, the possibility of relevant delay whispered of in this reversal. It's going to be delayed. Possibly feeling overwhelmed by indecisive mental chatter, or overly cautious, overly anxious, worries leading to emotional turmoil. Rather than having no information, as we did upright, and being led by that to indecisiveness, here in the reversal we see a glut, an overload, a huge dump of information, leading to the same inability to make a choice. Too much information can be just as difficult to bear as far too little, and will often result in chaotic avoidances, confusion, maybe even feeling so emotionally overtaxed that we just shut down entirely, like a computer being overloaded and turning itself off before catastrophic damage occurs, before it actually blows up. In people, this often reveals itself as detachment, going kind of numb, having needed to block our emotions for so long that now we think we can't even come back into contact with them, with feeling anything anymore. So what to do? If you're looking at the Two of Air Daggers reversed, realize there's likely a liar near at hand. And if you're sitting alone in a room, it could be you, lying either to yourself or others. These are the conflicts that can't be brought into peace. These are the opponents who can't resolve to sign the accord or the contract together. The opposing forces that you will not overcome by force or avoidance. If you continue the argument, it will go on, and at the same time go absolutely nowhere at all. And detachment, if that's the result of, say, a too much information overload, detachment isn't a solution that is going to allow you the most room for personal growth. If you're confused or losing focus, seek the space for peace and alignment. Stop talking too much or being around the person who does. Stop listening to all the mindless chatter. Take a breath. Indulge in silence. Allow yourself respite from the storm. You're going to wind up seeing things clearly one way or another here. So why not do it in the way that causes the least harm to you? A decision has been made here already. So it's time to get on board with the idea of that rather than trying to continue the conflict. Until next time.